We're in the final session. First, our tummy's full. Yeah. Which means our eyes closing. They must close. That's called a food coma. Without food coma, what is life? I'm a foodie. Ask me. But we're going to keep this as engaging as possible so you can run home and siesta. But actually, at the end of this, you may not want to siesta. You may be up and running. You never know. I am supposed to talk about myself also and tell you what I do, where I come from, just like I did for the other authors. I am going to do this and I'm going to do this very, very briefly, hopefully. I have a problem. I talk a little too much, which is why they make me an MC. I am a pioneer of satellite television hosting, which means I began to host satellite television programs in '93 when I was in school, when I was about your age, or maybe a little younger than you. I also used to host shows on All India Radio's, All India Radio's, youth band. We had a youth band. And I used to host shows on air when I was in school again. And I continue to be a television host. I became an actor by accident. And thank you. Yeah, for me, you can leave everything on. I became an actor by accident, didn't have too much. I've done cameo roles in a few films. My recent one being Ajit Tuniva, which will come out for Pongal, but that's only for friends. And I've been a celeb radio jockey on Big FM. You guys may not have heard. One generation before, maybe, because I was a television person before the times of social media. I had a hiatus. I've come back to my media world now. I curate a show on my YouTube channel, which is called Mamati Style. The channel is called Mamati Style. I'm getting feedback. The show is called Kural Mudal, which is about the Thirukural, but it's a bilingual explanation of the same, English and Tamil in parallel, and also global echoes. Now, how does that work? Well, it does. You should go into the channel and check it out because I cannot talk about that right now because we're going to talk about Zoe soon. My media career spans about 30 years because I've been a television producer, director, writer, screenwriter, feedback, screenplay writer, script writer, story writer for a whole variety of things from telefilms to films to serials. My company used to do about 4 hours of daily television programming at one point of time, which I would write and direct. I also hold a master's in English. Many times we don't get into the career that we set out to get into. I went to medical college. I did not complete. That's a bad thing. If anybody tells you, but look at where you turned up. Well, it's great where I turned up, but it's not a good thing not to finish what we began, especially when it comes to our education. So keep that in mind, regardless of what you choose. I also, page turner. I am also a page turner. Yeah. I'm an earth and animal welfare warrior. I'm an activist against child abuse and domestic violence. I'm an enabler of education. I'm an organ donor, which includes skin, limb, bones, everything that they can take from me after I'm gone. While I'm alive, thank you. While I'm alive, I'm a blood hair that is for recovering post-chemotherapy warriors, hair and stem cell donor. And I play various sports. I've been a fitness icon. I've been on 20,000 interviews. I've been a speaker in most educational institutions. All of that, I'm not going to list, but they are matters of pride to me, personal pride and joy, because they were wonderful and they are still wonderful. Now, coming to the topic on hand, as an author, my journey began on the 14th of July this year. Thank you. When the book was launched at our alma mater, Sacred Heart School, to an auditorium filled with our super juniors, and that was one of the best days of my life. The Making of Heroes, which is book one of the adventures of Zoe and Scruffy, is the first of my works to be published. I'm a multi-genre writer, from little children to middle grade, to young adults, to adults, fiction and non-fiction, literary and non-literary work. I'm also an illustrator. Whatever you've seen in Zoe, I have sketched myself. And as a matter of fact, I have brought some things with you, which I will get into once we get into the session. Next year, we'll see the release of The Summer of Heroes, which is book 2 of this series. And the year after that, we'll have the concluding book of The Adventures of Zoe and Scruffy. But next year, we'll also see the release of Extraordinary, which is young adults fantasy fiction work, which is a 5-part series. And also Kural for Kids. Kids who are not into reading Tamil, but are Tamil or are inclined towards Tamil. Kural for Kids will be each Kural except the final canto, which is of course the love or lust canto, which you don't require right now. The first 2 cantos, the Kurals will be written in using English alphabets. We call it transliteration. So the Tamil words using the English alphabet, an English explanation, and probably a fun little anecdote maybe, which is engaging enough, maybe illustrations. I'll take ideas from you because I'm still working on the writing part. So you can feel free to suggest how you would like to see it. And a whole slew of other books waiting in the wings. And that is me. And here I am to talk to you about The Making of Heroes, The Adventures of Zoe and Scruffy, Book 1. Thank you. When Sanjeev asked me whether I would like a moderator, I said the children are going to be my best moderators. So he saved my session for the last. Thank you very much for that. Which also means the children who read the books that came to school, the copies that came to school, have generated questions. And I'm going to answer that. But before I answer each question, if you are present here, it would be my pleasure to see who asked the question. And I don't really need to speak anything about the book by myself because your questions cover it all. So thank you, children. A big round of applause to you. And before I begin to get into the questions, I'll tell you what I've brought for you. I told you there are sketches in the book. These are the concept notes. So, what sketch do I want in which chapter and how is it going to look? These are my concept notes. I'm going to hand it to you. Please come. You darling. The one that I promised I will not put to sleep. You can pass it around and you guys can take a look at it because I'm sure among you there are many who want to be illustrators and authors, aren't there? Yeah? Yes? Yes. So do take a look at it. I have also brought one of my first printouts. It won't be the entire book, it will be parts of the book. But once I get into the questions, you'll understand why this is very, very important to me. Yeah? And I'll pass this around. You can take a look at this too. And don't worry about. If children don't damage what they're reading, then they haven't enjoyed themselves. As long as you don't scribble in your books. Question 1. What inspired you to write this book? Whose question was this? Are you here? Please stand up. What's your name, darling? Alina. Thank you so very much. Thank you so very much for asking me this, Alina. Okay, now this, but you need to wrap your head around this concept. I have a daughter through my ex-husband's previous marriage. Yeah? So I was married, I'm divorced, but when I was married, the gentleman was already divorced and he had a daughter through that marriage. And her birth mother and I are very good friends, which means she very, very sweetly, she would send her to me for her weekends, long holidays, we would split, festivals, we would hang out together and all of that. And of course, initially, when I came into her father's life, she thought I'm going to be Cinderella's stepmother and make her clean the stove and clean the house and beat her 3 times a day. And then when she realized, you can sit, you don't have, it's not punishment, chill. And when she realized I'm not evil, we slowly became friends. And after we became friends, obviously we got into the habit of giving each other gifts. And my birthday is on the 21st of December, just coming up. Hers is on the 22nd of December. So when she was going to turn 8, I decided that I'm going to give her something special. So I sat her down and asked her a few questions. What's your favorite character name? Is it a girl or is it a boy? What's their best friend? Best friend's name? Is that a girl? Is that a boy? Or is that neither? Do they are they best friends with any animals? Does any animal live with them? Is that a pink iguana or is it a blue squirrel or a fluorescent green dinosaur? She gave me answers to those. Where would you like your character to live? What would your character like to do? She gave me answers to those. I took all of these answers. And then, for her 8th birthday, I wrote her a book. I wrote her half a book. It was one part, it was the first part of one of the adventures here. And I gave her the concluding part for her 10th birthday. And that's why this is important, because I wrote it and I set it in Microsoft Office PowerPoint, printed it out in the middle of selling land because that was my job those days. And I did something horrible. I tore out the hardcover of Beedle the Bard by J.K. Rowling, covered it up with an illustration that I had made. I stitched Beedle the Bard back into chart paper, that's different, and had made illustrations. So printed it out, bound it, handmade it, and gave it to her. This would have that. Come. You can pass this around too. It's a process. So it'll have the first cover, the initial cover, which you guys would never see, and also the second cover, which you guys would never see if not here, unless I go NFT on it. So that is why I wrote the chapter. The chapter in the book is called Zoe and the Royal Imposter. The book that I wrote for her is called Zoe and the Royal Imposter. But in the book, it's a few chapters. It's an adventure. And once that was done, 1 year later, she said publish. But then life happened. We got too busy. And a friend of mine sent it to the publisher just because he knew I would write. He sent it 12 years after I wrote it. And our publisher, where's Vignesh? We have a fellow author here. Vignesh, can I see you? There. That is Vignesh. He's also from Readomania Publishing, and he's come here for Archana and me, along with his beautiful wife and wonderful son who's read my book. Thank you so much for being here. So it went to Dipankar Mukherjee. He loved all the manuscripts. I think my friend sent about 7 or 8. And each one is coming out in a series, different genres, different times. And he said, this is not enough. It's nice. Write more before, write more after. And then they made me write and write and write and write. And some of what I have written that hasn't come in book 1 will also be in that file. Thank you. Does that answer your question, my love? This book is based on adventures. So are any of the adventures real? Little parts of them are. You see, because I wrote the book for Trisha, that's her name, and because I love her so much, but I never got enough time with her, there were so many things I wanted to share, but couldn't, right? Because there was time and space. She lived in Bangalore, I lived in Chennai. So a lot of little things that we did have gone into the book. They will also go into the next 2 books. A lot of things I wanted to share with her have gone into it. Trust me, I'm not preachy, I'm not pedantic. God, I'll bore myself. I write only what I want to read. So it's fun all the way. But there are those little things that a mom wants to tell her daughter, which are there. But she and I are BFFEs, so you can sense how it's been written. And yeah, some parts of some adventures are definitely real. What was the reason for writing the book under the pen name Maya Spark? Oh God, I'm asking myself that, and so is Dipankar every single day. He's taking my trip for it because initially I wanted to write all the children's work under the name Maya Spark so that children don't pick up my adult work, because my adult works are a little, way off color. I really don't want you guys reading it. But then we realized something. People keep searching for my book under my name. So from book 2, we are dropping Maya Spark. It's going to be only Mamati Chari. And also, one more thing. I always read. In addition to all the fairy tales and everything, bedtime stories that we picked up at book fairs, I also inherited my grandfather's very vast library of very old books. And that's why I tell you, if children don't make books a little messy, then you actually haven't read them. Nobody told us how to treat books. We never scribbled in them or threw them around, but we read them. And I started with the classics. The first book I read was George Bernard Shaw's Joan of Arc, the original, when I was in my second standard. I know, it sounds, but she knows me and she's seen me through school. Um, so that's how my reading was. We picked what we wanted to. So I think that should be left to the discretion of children. You yourselves will shut things if you don't want to hear them, which is what Archana and I were discussing during her session, that we should not be the ones that seclude certain things from children. But be wary, be mindful, and be respectful to yourself, and therefore you choose what you read well. Fair? Yeah? Okay. So who asked the question whether any of the adventures are real? Yukta, my Zoe, oh God, I love you so much. And who asked the reason for writing under the pen name Mayaspa? Sujan. Thank you so much, Sujan. Thank you, Yukta. The next is, did you always want to become an author? Who asked that? Yukta? Okay. I wanted to become a doctor. I wanted to become a neurosurgeon, but my second choice was always being an author. Author, published author. I have always been a writer. Let's remember this. If you put pen to paper, you are a writer, you are an author. When you get published, you are a published author. It never ever means that you're not a writer or an author if you don't get published. The second your mind decides to create something or to recount something and you put it on paper, you are an author. When you create a work of art, you are the author of that art. Remember that, yeah? So, yeah, I did. And that career's just happened now. So, God's grace. What do you want young kids to learn from this book? Everything. I want you to learn to be bold and brave. I want you to learn to stand up for what you think is right, even if the world is against you. I want you to be able to choose the right thing to do. I want you to be able to stop and do good, no matter what is waiting on the other end. I want you to believe in yourself. I want you to be the best friend your best friend can have. I want you to stand up to bullies. I want you to pursue your dreams. I want this book to bring you everything that it can. And most importantly, I want you to learn to be joyful in life. I want this book to bring you joy. I want it to make you happy. Thank you. Was King Bruce inspired by a real life character? If so, which one? Actually, Bruce was inspired by the prince in Machiavelli's Prince. Yeah, so that's where it comes from. Being a king is not a simple thing. Within every child, there is a queen or a king or non-binary gender defined royalty. And that comes with certain responsibilities. We're all kings in our own right, in our own spheres. But being a king is not easy. It's not all about, and when I say king, I mean it as a position, as a state. It applies to all genders in my mind. It does not just mean looking awesome and taking the best pictures and having everybody serve us. Unless a king serves, a king cannot be served, and a king will not serve well. Do you think that's fair? Yeah. Originally, Zoe had poems. In that file, you would see poems. There would be this long poem about what being a king is all about, somewhere in there. So, who asked, what do I want kids to learn from this, and whether King Bruce was inspired? Who asked me these? Guys? Or was it all a joint effort, Intellect Club? Joint effort. So me asking you this is simply not fair because you put your minds together and penned this. So the credit goes to the Intellect Club, to whom I'm forever indebted. You made me so happy, and all of you guys too. Thank you so much. Are you proud of your book? What do you think? Answer me this. I love my book. book. I love my book. I read my book. I'm proud of every single word I've written in it. Every single word fell into place organically, naturally, just slid in there like a hot knife through butter. Nothing was forced at all. So, yes, I'm very proud of my book. This is my first book for children, yet I have captured the character of a little 8-year-old girl with such accuracy. Who was the inspiration for the character of Zoe? Zoe is a mix of Trish and me. That's who Zoe is. Thank you. And later, when I added more to Zoe, I kept my little Trish when she was 8 and 9 and 10 and 11 in mind because Zoe grows through this book. She grows up. She'll grow up with you if you begin to read her. And she'll continue to grow through the next two books. But she would always be in mind because how does an adult connect with a child? We cannot just sit on some high chair and write about what we think children will do because many of us may have forgotten that particular moment as a child. We may not forget how it is to be a child. See, for instance, the name Maya Spark, I chose it because it was meant to be the eternal child in me in a world of illusion. Maya being illusion and spark being every child is a spark that has to grow into a blaze. And that's why Maya Spark. But what you guys did when you were that age, or what you are doing now at this age, that is relevant. And because I have had her, I can recall, remember, and write it that way, so it is real. Story, yes. Plot, imagination, yes. But unless there's a kernel of truth, stories will suck. Won't they? Now, most often, the main characters of the story are the ones that possess superhuman powers. However, in this story, Scruffy, a pet dog, is the one that prevails as a superhero. Is there any significance behind this? Oh God, there is, and there is, and there is some more. I love animals, and strangely, they love me too. And I am so, so happy about it. Every single one of the animals whom I coexist with in my home has come to me organically by themselves. Most of them come with some health issue or the other. I will never buy an animal because they're not ours to buy or sell. And I've actually written about that in here. At the end of this, if there is time, I will quickly read a couple of pages so you may be able to relate to that. And they're not my pets. Nobody is my pet. I am not their pet either. We all coexist in harmony in our home together. They've done me the privilege of living with me and giving me their love. I respect them and I give them my love. Each one of them has such a unique character. And Scruffy was actually inspired by Rebel, who is my soul. Rebel lived with me for 13 years. He had a great birth, a great life, and a great death on my lap. And Scruffy is inspired by his nobility. Each of the animal characters is inspired by an animal that has existed in my life. Once you pick up the book, if you go to the acknowledgements, you'll see a whole slew of names like Binky and Whitey and Spotty and all of those extremely creative names. They're all the animals that have been in my life. All of them are inspirations for my characters. Matter of fact, in the Summer of Heroes, which is the next book, we have somebody who's very close to Neha's heart coming in, the tiger. We have somebody who's very close to India's heart, the peacock coming in. We have way more animals. Thank you. Oh my. Thank you. And why is Scruffy the superhero? Both of them are. It's the adventures of Zoe and Scruffy. Superpowers alone do not a superhero make. Do you agree? What makes a superhero? Only superpowers? That's it. The will to do good. Responsibility. The will to do good is all that it requires to make a superhero. Each one of us that does good is a superhero. That's it. And Zoe is a superhero because she believes in right from wrong. She will come and apologize if she's made a mistake. Oh, and boy, she makes such a huge blooper. She goes and accuses somebody of being a thief when they're not. Oh, but she will go say sorry. Saying sorry is a superpower. Not very many of us can do it honestly. Saying thank you is also a superpower. Being good is a superpower. Scruffy, though, has magical superpowers. And he gets it from a 100-year-old weasel yokai. Now, what is a yokai? And do weasels really live for 100 years? No? Yes? Maybe? I don't know. Well, you have to read to find out now, don't you? Scruffy and his best friend Oliver the Mouse both have superpowers. Scruffy's superhero name is Super Scruffy. Oliver's superhero name is Outstanding Oliver, who is a tiny little field mouse and who's brilliant with numbers like Chennai is. And he's got super. No, I'm saying way too much. I shall stop now. And Zoe's superpower is her best friend, Rita, and also her own goodness and her powers of logic, perseverance to solve cases. What is more important in a book, characters or plot? If you have if you have great characters and they're going nowhere, gone. If you have a great plot but none of the characters stay in your mind, gone. A good book is like each one of us. It takes blood, bone, sinew, muscle, ligament, flesh. It takes everything to make us, right? A book without good character detailing, a book without a good plot is going to go nowhere. I wouldn't read it, nor would you. All of it is important. But the one thing is this, it's not the eye or the nose that matters, but the whole. And have you read it in literature? Go check out where this reference comes from in your library or any library. Go to museums and libraries. Would I change something from this book? No way on earth. No way. I love this book the way it is, and so will you. And what's my favorite scene from this book? Every single scene. But there is one scene that makes me cry. I cried when I wrote it, and I cry when I read it each time. Oh God, it really hurts. It makes me cry. But every single scene, every word is my favorite. My favorite character, every single one of them. I created them. I love them all so much. I cannot say one. It's like asking a parent which child is your favorite. I might whisper in Zoe's ear or Scruffy's ear, but nowhere else. Did I learn something while writing this book? Yes. Good things don't necessarily come to those who wait. Good things come to those who persevere. Milton may have said they also serve who stand and wait, but that's only to God. Down here on earth, you can wait, but you should take every single effort that you should. And if you're a writer, you need to keep writing. Never, ever stop. The book also taught me to remember that I am a good writer. And I say so myself because accepting the truth is not arrogance. Saying otherwise is false humility. Thank you. Oh. And I do want to present this copy of my book with all my love to the school through the Intellect Club. Thank you so much, Priyambada. Thank you so much, Srinivasan uncle. And thank you so much, each one of you. You have been so lovely. I'm quickly going to read something and shut the book and give it to them. Yeah? So, as the children, now, Zoe, Rita, Alex, Alex was also a thief, but now he's part of their gang. I wonder how that happened. Girls who believe in right have a thief in their midst. Anyway, so the three of them, along with Zoe's little sister Tia, are hanging out on Zoe's porch. It's a lazy summer afternoon, and that's where this little scene is set. Yokai Hitso, the weasel. Weasel are not bad, huh? Yokai Hitso had sent them their next mission that morning. There had been news of a band of crooks smuggling exotic baby animals. As luck would have it, they were reported to be traveling with a carnival that was setting up at the fairground very near Zoe's home that very day. How's that for coincidence and plot? Outstanding Oliver had gone on a reconnaissance mission, and Scruffy had been impatiently waiting for him. Oliver shared his shocking findings. You're not going to like what I have to say, Scruffy. Whatever do you mean? The performing animals are always kept in their trailers all the time, except when they have to perform. They're given very little food, and that too only if they do well in the ring and attendance is good. They never even get to breathe fresh air or see trees. Scruffy's hackles went up, and he growled long and low. And the smuggled babies? I couldn't see them anywhere in my search. But there is this one trailer that I couldn't get into. I think they're there. I heard very faint crying noises from it that could only belong to baby pandas. Scruffy shook in anger and then calmed himself. Super reasoning. One of Super Scruffy's powers took over. Oliver, we can go there tonight and take all these animals away and get them to their homes. But what would that solve? People as cruel as these will only go out and capture or buy more. Yes, I know. I still don't get how people can buy animals, though. How do we not belong to ourselves? Someday it'll change, Oliver. They will see we all belong to ourselves, and the world belongs to all of us. Pause crossed. Thank you so much. I'm so glad you liked it. May I have the Intellect Club over here, please? Come on. Yes, please clap. They did such a fantastic job. I can never thank them enough. Come on, guys. Thank you so very, very, very much. Thank you. Thank you. And now, yeah. Oh, oh, I am getting gifts.
I think we should all get up and clap for her. She's done a great job, and a great job not only today. Yeah, she's been the soul of this festival throughout, right from the beginning. Yesterday, she was, otherwise we would all be asleep by this time, and she's the one who's keeping us up and full of josh. So thank you, thank you so much. And we hope that next year we'll be back with more authors, more books. And the Intellect Club will encourage us. Big hand for them. And more of you join the Intellect Club and start reading more and more. Thank you. So I would also like to take this opportunity of thanking Mr. Srinivasan, Priyamvada, and everyone in the school, our principal, the faculty, and all the teachers who took so much pains to prepare for this event. And this is evidence. I'm telling you, and Sanjeev was sharing with me, that such vibrancy is something which we have not seen in many places. So kudos to all of you, and kudos to whoever has done the artwork. Thank you from the Chennai International Center. Thank you. And I must mention that yesterday there were volunteers from your school who came and helped us with yesterday's function also. Personal thanks from us to all of them. And we hope more of you come out and start volunteering and do things that you want to do. And a great thank you for Srividya. She's been coordinating on behalf of the school, and thanks for all the effort that she's put in. Thank you very much.
Okay. Thank you very much.
So on behalf of my management, principal, teachers and students, I would like to thank the Chennai Internet Center for the opportunity given to us to host this Literature Festival 2022. As I mentioned earlier, I'm going to make it this as annual event. I was post lunch. I was interacting with my teachers to get some feedback. It was very positive feedback from my teachers. Because I want to share with you, every school has got their own management culture. Here, my culture in the school is something different. It's not the education or the quality of education or discipline. They are not that important to me. Here, my teachers trying to understand the inherent strength, talents of every student. Basically, that relationship between the student and teacher is more important. Second thing, I believe in life skill. And we are here outside the classroom, outside the syllabus. We have to probably see how best not developing a life skill or not improving the life skill. The students must themselves think about enhancing their life skill. And when they want them to think, it's not the question of what to think or how to think. Allow them freedom to think. That's how we are.
And that's a rare education.
Yeah. So that way, this is the third session, motivational, inspirational speech I have initiated for the last 3 months. It will continue almost every month. We will have some motivational lectures here, and today it is an excellent exposure to my students. I I think my students really enjoyed this session, right? Yeah. So why don't you give a big clap to all the teachers, your authors, mentors. Thank you very much. Big thanks.
Thank you, CLM. Thank you, Value of Words. Thank you, Chennai International Center. And all the wonderful people associated with each of the three organizations, all the wonderful children that are here, the authors, the moderators. You've spent your Sunday here. A Sunday. And it was rocking. Thank you so very much to each of the support staff that have worked here, all the IMAs, all the Annas. Thank you very much. You've taken great care of us. The tech team, Kannan, and everyone else. Thank you so much. God bless. And before we say bye, we shall rise for the school anthem. Okay, school anthem and then national anthem, guys. No. I love my school anthem. Your school anthem and then the national anthem. Stop. You guys have to sing it.
Tasking Sishya, O Emma. Hand in hand and side by side, let's work together with pride. Varimayum, Memayum, Nandriyum, Visuvasavum, Lachiya Patrorum, Nanneriluyavam. We are strong and faithful, we are loyal and grateful. Let's try to aspire and excel, that these virtues in us dwell.
God bless Sisha Oman. Please remember to collect my drawings and my file and bring them to me after the national anthem. Just make sure nothing is left out. I trust you, children. Can we stand at attention for the national anthem, please? Jana Gana Mana Adhinayak Jaya He Bharat Bhagya Vidhata Punjab Sindh Gujarat Maratha Dravida Utkal Banga Vindhya Himachal Yamuna Ganga Uchal Jalati Taranga तव शुभ नामे गाहे तव शुभ आशीष माने गाहे तव जय गाथा जन गण मंगलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे